Hello, welcome to the Fantasy Football Key. I got my first request for a show idea, redrafting the 2023 rookie class. So let's jump right in. Man, what a class it was. There was a lot of hype surrounding the 101 last year. Bijan Robinson was getting pretty much unanimously selected ahead of the first quarterback. In super flex leagues, quarterback is generally king, but when we're not sure who to take, we sometimes like to lean with the safer option. We see that here in the 2024 class with Marvin Harrison Jr. It doesn't matter whether it's super flex or not. People still want to go after the perceived to be surefire asset. Now, we've seen not only in 2023 was there a quarterback valued probably ahead of Bijan Robinson, but Bijan didn't even have rookie numbers that were better than the previous rookie that his own team drafted the year before in Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier had a 1,000-yard season. Bijan Robinson was in the 900 plus range. Now that was due to coaching potentially. That coach is no longer with the team. But when we're talking about ranking the class, there's a lot of upside with these quarterbacks. So I'm going to go through, show who I believe to be the 101, and that's going to be none other than Mr. CJ Stroud, who will be playing against the Baltimore Ravens here in about 30 minutes. Today is January 20th. He's in his first playoff game, or second playoff game. But what an incredible run in his first season he's had. So let's see how far CJ Stroud can go. At the 102, I'm taking the other bright spot of the year, which was Puka Nacua. Wow. Another record-setting rookie season by Puka Nacua. Both of these two rookies so far have broken so many of the rookie records of their respective positions. So, there's no way to really know that Puka needed to be drafted this high. This was a later round guy in most drafts, but it's hard to argue how impactful he was to Dynasty rosters year one. He was a league winner, helping people win leagues. He was in almost every game, just putting up monster points. So really hard to deny. We've just gotten confirmation that Matthew Stafford will be coming back in 2024, so I feel good about Puka Nacua here at the number 2 spot. All right, at number three, going back to the quarterback position because, again, quarterback is king. And, wow, Anthony Richardson, limited sample size because of the injuries. However, he was putting up eyebrow-raising numbers his first couple of games. There was one of those games where in the first half he had QB1 numbers, and he ends up getting injured in the second half, unfortunately. But everyone wanted to know how that game was going to end because he could have put up a record-breaking game, and he is showing he's got game-breaking ability to help win some leagues. So I still want to put Richardson very high here, even with the injury. At the 104 spot, this is where we'll take Bijan Robinson. We see the talent is there. We like some of the changes to the staff, so we'll take Bijan. Don't have to say too much about him. We all love him. I've got the Texas hat. Excited to see what he can do in year two. Following that up with another running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, arguably the Dynasty RB1 in his own right. Both of these two players are young and have their whole career ahead of them. I think both of them are great. The difference being that Bijan seems to have the ability to be a true workhorse back. Both teams that these players are on decided to use a committee. That's kind of the trend in the NFL now. So we'll see how that workload goes going forward. Gibbs really did have that pass catching upside. Both players do. Gibbs was really getting that. However, he has a lot of touchdown competition with David Montgomery. We will see how that all shakes out, but I'm feeling really good about these two young players. Okay, we're going to take our first tight end, Sam Laporta, record-breaking season as well. Really incredible stuff that he put together. So hard to argue Sam Laporta here at the 106. He was going in the second round last year, so and we're seeing here on the right side, pick 19. That's where Laporta was going. I got him at, I believe, pick 18 in the draft. Ended up trading him away prematurely, but because he just continued to rise throughout the season after a really great season. I'm going to take the 107, Jordan Addison. Like what he was able to put together. Showed that when Justin Jefferson's injured, he can step up. He can be that guy. The team really depended on him quite a bit to really have a run even while their quarterback was down. So he showed that he can potentially be quarterback proof. In most games, he's only going to have the second best defender covering him. So I feel good about him as a solid asset going forward. Next, Jackson Smith and Jigba. This is kind of a fall from, he was picked 105 last year, 108 here, a little bit of a fall. If you watch those games, he looked really good. So just take a look at the film. If you missed some of those games, he's had game-winning touchdown. He's shown improvement. Started the year with a broken wrist. Don't want to give him a ton of excuses, but they don't have Pete Carroll there as a coach anymore. Tyler Lockett's getting up there in age. If he's just replacing Tyler Lockett next year or in 2 years, he's going to be well positioned to produce points for our teams. 109, we're going to take Devon Achane, one of the fastest running backs on the league, on the fastest team in the league. And the running backs in that backfield with him are all older, beyond the age cliff. So it's easy to see Achane having a prominent role for years to come. At the 110, Zay Flowers. Drafted in the first round last year, still first rounder here. He showed he's got a skill set from day one. Beginning of the year, Mark Andrews was injured. He stepped up. Later in the year, Mark Andrews gets injured again, and Zay Flowers stepped up. This is all in his rookie season. This team is in the playoffs. He's improved, and I've got no complaints with Zay Flowers. It's a low-volume pass offense, unfortunately. So some of it is situation. He's a good player, though. Number 11, here is a riser, Rashee Rice. Really stepped up for the Kansas City Chiefs. I see him down here. Pick 25, so pretty big rise for him. Okay. Tank Dell. Tank Dell's only concern, I believe, was durability. Yeah, he was a third rounder. However, the size is what everyone's concern was, and it ended up being a factor. Could not stay healthy. But when you're tied to CJ Stroud and had the rookie performance that Tank Dell had, I'm feeling very good about just some big games in the future. You don't always have to play every single game, but the games he's playing, he can put up some good points for your team. Okay, jumping into the 201, first pick in the second round, Dalton Kincaid. While Dawson Knox was injured, Dalton Kincaid put up some good numbers. Aside from that, numbers were just okay. He's going to be tied to a great quarterback for a long time, so we can feel really good about Dalton Kincaid. Overall, in the tight end landscape, it's just okay. So having an option there that we can feel good about, we'll take it. All right. Let's move along here. Jaden Reed, 14th player off the board. Let's highlight him for you guys. Really good emergence from Jaden Reed. Was someone that we were taking in the second round. Felt good about it. I think here in drafts, he was going much later, pick 24. I mean, that's the very end of the second round. He's moved up quite a bit. He's just towards the middle to the end of the season was just game after game after game, putting together solid performances. We realized Jordan Love was really good, and this is the youngest team in the league, and a lot to be excited about. Plenty of target competition. I'm not going to worry about that right now. He came in with good prospect profile markers and has done nothing but show that he's good. Okay. Next up, Zach Charbonnet. We saw he could step up when Kenneth Walker went down, and that's all you can ask for with the running backs. He also has second-round draft capital. He's young, one of the youngest in the league at this point, so we're going to roll with him. Next pick, this is Tajay Spears, and I think he's shown he could be good, as well as factoring in the change of coaching with the Titans, the age of Derrick Henry. It's just one of those things where at some point there will have to be a new running back. Derrick Henry's been there for quite some time. It seems like this team is going younger in a different direction. May not be this year. It'll be within Tajay Spears' rookie contract. Well, this next running back class isn't deep enough to be able to see someone just taking away any and all opportunity for Tajay to get a chance, because he did everything he could to cement that he can play. The 17th pick, we're going Keaton Mitchell. This guy had monster weeks for the Ravens. The Ravens have had nothing but injuries for 3 consecutive seasons at the running back position. All of the reliability that we've had with Gus Edwards has been great, except for the fact that he is older himself. Keaton Mitchell has really shown that he can play. He's a good lightning back to the Thunder. So if they don't retain a J.K. Dobbins, who initially had a lot of that lightning, but due to injury, maybe has had some of that sapped out of him. Now we're in a spot where Keaton Mitchell could be that lightning to Gus Edwards' Thunder or whoever else they might bring in. The identity of this team is running, so I expect them to bring someone else in. Until that happens, let's not forget about Keaton Mitchell and his ability to have game-breaking speed to help the Ravens push the ball down the field. All right. Here at the 18th pick, going Josh Downs. Could have him higher. We don't know what Anthony Richardson's pass volume is going to be when he returns. The Downs had a good role with Gardner Minshew. Even still, I would not say it's reliable. At this point, I love the player. You just need a high volume scenario for him to really be able to be reliable in your lineups. But with that said, if there is an injury to Michael Pittman Jr., I can see Josh Downs eating. 19th pick, we're going Kendre Miller. Luckily, we got to see the Saints at the end give Kendre Miller at least one game to play, and he put up some good yardage. Alvin Kamara probably is with the team this next season. However, after that, we shall see. They drafted Kendre Miller fairly high. He was on a national championship contender team a year ago, came into the season injured. So we always expected Kendre to have a slow start in his first year. Let's give him that second year to see what can happen. I prefer most of these running backs at this range anyway. If I am going to hold on to someone, this is a player I want to hold on let's see what he can do when next season comes around and what type of opportunity he's going to have. Pick 20, we got Roschon Johnson, another player out of Texas. He showed he's got pass catching ability. We'll see what the quarterback situation is in Chicago. If it's Caleb Williams, that's exciting. We'll see. I think Khalil Herbert could be nearing the end of his contract. So within the next year or two, Roschon Johnson could have a very prominent role. I don't think Foreman's going to have a long-term role. He has been kind of transitioning from team to team, even though he's always delivered when healthy, and he has been for quite some time. It's just kind of the nature of the direction of this team is getting younger, and I could definitely see Roschon having a role in that, climbing much higher up these rankings. Oof. Okay, here we go. Quentin Johnston at the 21st pick here. Quite a fall from the 7th pick last year. It's very interesting. A lot of folks accurately were able to point out Quentin Johnston as someone that should just be prioritized a little bit later. Let me get the color right here. He really just had an issue when it came to being a reliable target for the Chargers, and he was given a lot of opportunities with all of the injuries that they had. Pretty big fall. It's tough. I do think he'll get another opportunity to just continue to contribute. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go ahead and take Chase Brown here at the 210. This is more of knowing the contract situation with Joe Mixon. That's 1 year left on the deal. In 2025, Chase Brown could have a role. Even in 2024, if there's an injury to Joe Mixon, Chase Brown could have a role. I'm totally comfortable having the RB2 on the team. We'll see what happens. But he had been flashing here at the end of the season for the Bengals, showed some speed. So let's see. Marvin Mims flashed very early and then cooled off. Now we have to see if he's got a role here in 2024. He definitely does. It's just what happens, does one of the other receivers ahead of him get a contract with another team? Do they stay? There were a lot of rumors before the offseason about some movement. No one moved, and that's totally fine. But for Marvin Mims to get more opportunities, he's going to have something change because he just was not getting targeted enough, and he had a lot of mistakes, fumbles, and things of that nature that could have been part of just a coaching decision why they wanted to allow some of the veterans to do most of the work. I think another season, maybe he can emerge. Not someone I'm ready to give up on yet. And I'm totally comfortable with this, but yeah, kind of a fall from the 15th spot he was taken at last season. Okay. Ooh. Last pick in the second round, we got Bryce Young. Man, really should probably be much higher in these rankings just since he's a quarterback. If you look at the game log, the numbers he was putting up were you were must avoid in your lineup type numbers, or you were losing the week. So it was a rough season. They have lots of change there, coaching staff, GM, a lot of changes. Fortunately, they've got the first pick in the second round. I think if they use that on a receiver, they're going to be in a good spot to at least give him another weapon. I think he's too low on here, so I'll just admit that. Bryce Young should be at least ahead of Quentin Johnston, I would think. But overall, it was a rough go for Bryce Young last season. Right behind him, I've got Will Levis. Will Levis, I think he showed he's got a really good arm. The Tennessee Titans are just in a spot where they also are going to have a new coach. The receiver situation, they'll have DeAndre Hopkins this year. There's a chance Hopkins leaves if he wants to go to a contender, but the contract is what it is. Still, anything could happen. But aside from that, we haven't seen Treylon Burks emerge. So I would say that the wide receiver room has questions that need to be answered. And if it degrades, then, it's going to be a tough spot for Will Levis to be a top 20 quarterback. He's definitely got the arm, but there's a lot of mistakes. So, it's kind of a pocket presence thing. He's taking late hits and, showing he could be injury prone as well, just because of what he's susceptible. So kind of tough overall here. But yeah, there's the top 2 rounds redrafted. I will go ahead and unveil just the rest for your curiosity. Let's go ahead and show these. I would just consider these in the free agent tier. Quick comments. Michael Wilson, he flashed for the Cardinals, and we'll see what the wide receiver room looks like. But as a rookie had a good season. DeMario Douglas, out as a rookie, had a good season. We're expecting some competition there. Maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. joins the team. Michael Mayer, great prospect, quality player. Luke Musgrave flashed. There's quite a few players on here. Just in year 2, we'll see what happens. Jalen Hyatt could be a starter for that team. They need a starter. Carolina needs a starter. Cleveland has Amari Cooper, but Tillman did overtake Donovan Peoples-Jones, and they traded him away because of that. And we'll see if he can get into a wide receiver 2 role if Elijah Moore doesn't stay with the team long term. Dontavian Wicks, another one of those young Green Bay receivers that showed that they can play and put up fantasy points. Luke Schoonmaker, really, with him not being able to be the tight end 2 due to Jake Ferguson, that's understandable. We haven't seen Cowboys give long-term contracts to the tight ends, so one day could be Luke Schoonmaker's day. I actually don't think it will be anytime soon, so I'm not prioritizing Schoonmaker at all. Chris Rodriguez, he could be the running back 2 for the Washington Commanders, so I'm fine holding him. Trey Palmer flashed. He can produce. Andre Iosivas, he can play. And if T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd leave, he might step into a role. A.T. Perry ended the season with a 2-touchdown game. He's a big threat. Aiden O'Connell may retain the quarterback job this season. We'll see what happens in the draft. If he retains that job, then, he's playable. He can easily rise up these ranks, maybe for a season. And most of the folks below here, these running backs, they're just an injury away. Unfortunately, with Jaleel McLaughlin, he showed that he had burst, but really due to his size, he would kind of get just driven off his feet and lose the ability to just drive through tackles. So not someone that will ever have a workhorse role. Doesn't seem to be in the cards. And just some other names you can look at here. Not too many I need to necessarily highlight. I will say that we've seen Trey Tucker flash. We'll see where Devontae Adams goes. Abanikanda is the RB2 now for the Jets. Obviously, Brees had some injury, but Brees is easily, so dominant that I wouldn't be able to start Abanikanda unless Abanikanda was starting. Tucker Kraft showed he can play. Maybe he pulls a Mark Andrews and becomes a better tight end out of the two rookies drafted within the same season, like Andrews versus the guy he was drafted with, Hayden Hurst, who was drafted ahead of Andrews. And yeah, Bobo, great blocker. Jake Bobo, Tyler Scott, flash. If he gets a quarterback upgrade, who knows what could happen there? Amari DiMercado, rookie. We'll see if James Conner stays there. We'll see. There's some opportunities. So really, most of the guys after here, I'm not too concerned with. Maybe Hendon Hooker gets some spot starts. Eric Gray. We'll see if Barkley stays with the team. I don't think some of these other people have a role that I'm willing to invest in. That will do it, though. We've gone through, re-ranked the 2023 rookie class. Thanks for the suggestion from Tales from the Geek. I appreciate that. And y'all enjoy the game. Let's see who can do it out of the Ravens and the Texans. Ravens have always been a favorite team of mine. CJ Stroud, though, the rookie 101, has been very impressive. And as an individual player, that's one of my favorite players now. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. I'll be getting my popcorn ready. Y'all enjoy this show. Take care.